shutdown. 336 lawmakers voted for the bill. 96 voted against the two-step proposal, which would fund part of government until January 19th and the rest until February 2nd. This is a laddered approach by House Speaker Mike Johnson. He needed Democrat support to pass his first big victory, as over 90 Republicans voted against the bill. Johnson released this statement, quote, "The passage of today's continuing resolution puts House Republicans in the best position to fight for conservative policy victories." Joining me right now is Tennessee Congressman Ogles, who voted against the spending bill. Congressman, thanks very much for being here this morning. Why did you vote against it?
Absolutely. Well, I had some concerns with the way the bill was structured. There was a ghost gun provision in there that stretches to February. Then you had the Farm Bill extension, which should have been a standalone bill, but that takes us through September. And I understand the idea that the farmers need reassurances during crop season, that it's okay to plant and that we would readdress this in January. But again, it should have been a standalone bill. Look, I was one of the 20 that fought for the rules changes. You have a germaneness issue, meaning that bills have to do with one another, and a continuing resolution and the germaneness issue do not go together. And look, some of the spending levels that were in there continue the Biden administration's woke legislation and agenda. And so look, I support the speaker. He's a friend of mine, but I did not support this bill, and I told him as much. And we went back and forth in a friendly kind of exchange, if you will. But at the end of the day, it did pass. I'm happy that we're moving forward and we get to appropriations.
Yeah, I mean, look, clearly even those who voted for it longer term want to see spending reined in. That's for sure. And this bill does not do it, as it does continue the same spending priorities of Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats until February. But do you see a vision out there? Do you see a plan out there to actually rein in spending longer term?
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I'll give Speaker Johnson credit. He's laid out, behind scenes, talking to the Freedom Caucus, which I'm a member of, we want to go on the offensive. We want to cut spending. We want to go to conference with the Senate. We want to find a path forward. But part of that is we do have to finish our appropriations bills. And look, the world's on fire. You have Russia and Ukraine conflict. You have Hamas and the Palestinians versus Israel, and some of the other bad actors in the region are looking to join in. So we've got a lot of work to do. We've got to get back to appropriating, and this is a good step. Again, I wish we'd taken another path. I think we could have put forward a laddered CR that had an Israel provision in it with a pay for out of the Commerce Department, which would have sent a signal to the American people that, yes, we're committed to supporting Israel, but we're going to cut our budget. We're going to find money that we already have to pay for it versus the same old, We're going to borrow money, borrow money at a time when we have so much debt.
Well, let's talk about the Israel money, because Senate Democrats blocked the House's Israel standalone package. They want Ukraine funding included in that bill. More than 500 current U.S. officials sending a letter to President Biden urging him to change his Israel policy. And the New York Times is reviewing a copy of that letter, which is urging Biden to demand a ceasefire and call for de-escalation of this conflict. Congressman, where is this going?
Well, I mean, I think this is another example of a woke administration that's undermining Israeli foreign policy. Look, they were attacked. This was a terrorist attack. Back in the early 2000s, you had a land for peace deal. Unfortunately, the Israelis have not had peace. They've been under constant attack for 2 decades. Then now you have this terrorist attack. And so, look, Hamas attacked Israel. They deserve to be wiped off the face of the earth. And quite frankly, the Palestinian government is culpable in that exchange. They have a pay-to-slay program. I have several pieces of legislation that protects the U.S. homeland from Hamas, from the Palestinians, because we know, and again, we know that we have terror cells operating on U.S. soil. We've had attempted assassinations of U.S. citizens by Iranian agents. It is time that we wake up and realize that Israel is the tip of the spear against terrorism globally.
Yeah, meanwhile, Joe Biden hasn't done anything about the wide-open border. We've got terrorists coming into the border. Customs and Border Patrol released new statistics yesterday. The October numbers, nearly 241,000 migrants have been encountered just in the month. That's up 10%, nearly 10% compared to October 2022. Agents encountered more than 4,200 Chinese nationals last month, 4,200 nationals in a month. That's on top of 2,000 nationals in a 2-week period from China. 430 Chinese migrants were encountered in October of 2022. This is mind-boggling that you've got Chinese nationals coming into the border in a month totaling 4,261. Border Patrol arrested 13 individuals on the terrorist watch list last month as well. Border Patrol only encountered 12 suspected terrorists in 3 years under former President Trump, and now they're coming in droves, Congressman. What are your thoughts on the number of Chinese nationals? Can you actually leave China in a communist country? Can you leave China without getting approval from the CCP?
Well, let's just admit it's very difficult. And look, so why are so many Chinese nationals coming here? And quite frankly, why are so many Iranians and Syrians coming here? They're all military-aged men. I believe they're here to undermine the U.S. way of life and, quite frankly, our government. It's an amazing, quite frankly, a miracle that we haven't had another terrorist attack here on U.S. soil. And the Biden administration is guilty of that. And then set that aside for a moment. Think about all of the murders, all of the rapes, all the burglaries, all the DUIs, all the people who've been maimed and hurt because of illegals in this nation. And then there's fentanyl. It's flooded our streets. It's made every small town in America a border town. And this is a crisis that is solely the responsibility of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Kamala supposedly being a border czar. Heck, I've been to the border more times than she has, and she's supposed to be in charge of it. But again, every victim in America at the hands of an illegal alien is the fault of this administration.
Yeah, no, but what I'm getting at is these Chinese nationals. I don't understand what's going on and whether or not Xi Jinping is directing them to come to America, settle in America until they get further direction from the CCP. Joe Biden is meeting with Xi Jinping today. Do you think he should be raising this with him? Why are you sending thousands and thousands of Chinese military-aged men, nationals, to America? What are they here for?
Yeah, absolutely. And not to mention that we know that the Chinese government is working directly with the Mexican cartel to flood our streets with fentanyl. So are they part of that operation? Are they part of a terror operation? Is it an espionage operation? We know that China is buying farmland all over our country. So again, what is the motive for sending so many military-aged men into our country, illegally, by the way? And then what is their motive? I mean, clearly China sees us as weak, and it's time that we re-elect Donald Trump and get a true leader in the White House, because look, we are under attack. This southern border is truly an invasion, but it's an invasion of our own doing because of the Biden administration. And I have concerns, whether it's thousands of people from China or thousands of people from Iran and Syria. They're coming here to do harm to our people.
This is just stunning, Congressman. We're going to keep a spotlight on it. And thanks very much for joining me this morning. Andy Ogles joining us this morning in D.C. Thank you, sir.